Can cats sense when someone is about to die? Have you ever noticed how cats sometimes just sit and stare at someone for a long time, as if they can sense something invisible to us? Their eyes, calm and deep, seem to look beyond the surface as if they see more than what humans can perceive. There are stories that make people believe cats have a mysterious ability. They can sense when someone is about to die. One of the most famous of these stories is about a cat named Oscar who lived in a nursing home called Steerhouse in Rhode Island, USA. Oscar wasn't a special cat at first. He was just a stray kitten brought in to bring comfort and company to elderly patients nearing the end of their lives. But only a few months after arriving, the staff began to notice something strange. Oscar was different. He wasn't friendly or playful. He didn't seek attention or cuddle with people. He often stayed quiet, watching from the end of the hallway or resting on a windowsill, as if waiting for something. Then one day, Oscar quietly entered the room of a patient who was nearing the end. He jumped onto the bed, curled up beside the person, and stayed there until they passed away. At first, everyone thought it was just coincidence. But a few weeks later, it happened again and again and again. The nurses started paying attention. Oscar would wander through the halls, sniffing at each door, until he stopped at one specific room. When he went inside, everyone knew what that meant. He would leap onto the bed, curl into a small ball next to the patient, and remain there completely still until the person took their last breath. After more than 25 cases, no one thought it was coincidence anymore. Oscar truly seemed to sense death. The staff began to prepare themselves. They used to say, "If Oscar sits on your bed, it's time to call the family." And strangely enough, he was never wrong. The story spread around the world. The New England Journal of Medicine, one of the most respected medical journals in the world, published an article about Oscar, calling him the cat who predicts death. It sounded like something out of a ghost story, but everything written was true. So what made Oscar so special? Could he really see souls? Or was it something purely natural, a sense that science could explain? Researchers decided to investigate. Their theory was simple. Oscar wasn't seeing death. He was smelling it. When the human body approaches death, its chemistry changes. Cells begin to break down, and specific scents like acetone and ammonia slowly start to appear. These smells are incredibly faint, too subtle for human noses to detect. But for cats, whose sense of smell is tens of times stronger, it's like a silent alarm. Just as dogs can detect cancer or low blood sugar, cats might be able to sense the slow fading of life itself. But what's truly fascinating is not what Oscar detected, but how he reacted. He didn't run away. He didn't hide. He stayed. He lay beside the dying person, pressed his small head against their hand, and began to purr, a slow, deep vibration, soft and steady, like a heartbeat that never leaves. The nurses noticed something else too. In those final moments, many patients became calmer. Some even smiled before they passed. No one had taught Oscar to do that. He simply did, as if he understood that every soul deserves a companion when crossing to the other side. To the doctors and nurses, Oscar was no longer a sign of death. He became a symbol of empathy, a tiny creature offering comfort when words no longer mattered. Years later, Oscar still lives at Steerhouse. He's now an old cat, but still, every so often he walks the same quiet halls, sniffs each room, and chooses one. When he climbs onto a bed, the staff knows what's coming. They no longer fear him. Instead, they feel peace, because if Oscar is there, it means no one will die alone. One doctor once said, "Perhaps Oscar isn't the cat of death, but the cat of compassion," because in those final moments, he isn't announcing death. He's offering presence. He's simply there to say goodbye, for everyone else who can't. Maybe death itself isn't the scariest thing. Maybe what we truly fear is being alone when it comes. And sometimes, the only one brave enough to stay is a small, quiet cat with golden eyes and a heart that refuses to leave. So if one day your cat sits beside you for a long, long time, don't be afraid. Maybe it's just their way of saying, "If you're tired, I'll stay right here."